This will be 3D Arena, Generative AI. We see the standings. So currently CSM is on the first place. But let's take a look at this. So what is the motivation? This was created by Dylan Ebert, as we can see over here. And the motivation is to better evaluate and highlight which is the best generative AI. Now, I will go back to the leaderboard, and as we can see, still CSM is first, but we see it's quite tight with Trellis, 3DGS over here. And on the third place, again, we see Trellis. Now, let's take a look at this. I'm going to go and vote, and we have the following meshes. So we see the input. This will be a penguin. And this will be the output meshes. Let's take a look at which will be better. So we see over here, we have some details. Overall, I feel that the one on the left has better symmetry. But both models are quite impressive, considering the fact that they were generated starting with a single image input, as we can see. Now, if I will turn this to the side, they will look like this. So I consider that this one over here, B, will be a little better. This is quite white on the back. It can be like that, but in reality, considering that this is small penguin, it most likely will resemble one over here on B. Also, regarding the body posture and proportions, if you're gonna take a look over here at this, still both models are really impressive, and we see all those fine details. And I'm really curious, what are the tools used? I consider that one of them will be Trellis. In this case, I will go with B, and we see Trellis and CSM. So rank 1 versus rank 2. Now we have the following bug over here. So both models are quite poorly defined. Over here, it matches that, so it will have that in the middle. But I see that one of them, initially I thought that it's mirrored, but it's actually not. Still, both models are quite poorly detailed, but if I'm gonna zoom out, B will be a lot better in this case. So we see SPAR and SF3D in this case. Let's go to the next one. Usually they load a little bit faster, but yeah, now we have the following one loaded. So we have a ceramic out over here. We see some flying, some floaters over there. To the back, this is quite a mess. And this from the front looks really good. We have that texture. We have those flowers. It's like this from the top. So we didn't really understand that this should be a pot, but overall, considering that the one over here is kind of a mess, this will be A. So SF3D and instant mesh. So we have the model of a fish. I feel like, considering the shading of this, I think that this is CSM over here to the left, because I'm mostly familiar with CSM, and when I see that kind of shading, it makes me think that it's CSM. So let's analyze these two models. Regarding the poly count, they are quite close. Regarding the texture, this one over here is a little bit better. We see the scales of the fish better defined, and but regarding the overall topology of the mesh, I think that the one over here on the left better represents the shape of this fish. So this is a little bit elongated, but still I will pick this mainly because of the texture. And let's see, I think that this is CSM. So no, we have meshy, so none of those were CSM. We have the following image. So it decided to add some hair for this one, as we can see. and the one on the right doesn't. So considering that this is generative AI, but it should maintain the original mesh. This didn't add a texture, but overall, if I'm gonna zoom in over here towards the belly of the character, we're gonna see that this is quite spiky, while this one is a lot smoother. It still has some weird geometry, but overall B will be better. Now let's take a look at the following one. So we have the following pepper over here, and yeah, just by looking at this, I feel like the one on the right is better, both in terms of the mesh, but as well as the texture. So we have that green much better defined. Over here we have those whites. Even though within the input image there was that specular, so A is good also, but I think that B will be better. So we have trellis and strawberry. Let's take a look at the following house. So we see over here, this generative AI decided that this should be round for some reason, even though it's obvious that we have those vertical straight lines. And yeah, this will be clearly A. So let's see another model. This will be the model of a car. Okay, I'm not sure exactly what is this over here and why we have this. This is a poorly meshed, so I will go with A. And A is pretty well defined. We also have some interior elements. And overall we have good symmetry of this. So not sure about that new entry to the right. We have the following horse figure over here. Let's take a closer look. So over here we have those defined, as we can see, really well defined, even though it was a small mesh, and most generative AI will ignore that. As we can see it over here on the left, it added some, but yeah, overall the one on the right side, even though if you're gonna check the vertex count, this has only 41k and this has 290k. So but we see how that additional geometry is just going into nothing. Even the eye of the horse is not that well defined over here. So this is also better in terms of texture, but better in regarding the topology. So A. So that was strawberry. Again, we have the same person that I previously had, but now different tools. So this one I think is still the same mesh. We see over here those spikes, and this one on the right is clearly better. So the mesh has been smoothed out. So B clearly. So strawberry again. We have the following car, and most generative AI struggle with this. So CSM struggled a lot with cars. They managed to do this perspective. As we can see, it's quite close, but overall the proportions of the car are just not right. We have this one, much better, even though I've seen a lot better, but in this case A will be better. So let's take a look at another mesh. We have the following sphere. So this didn't even maintain the symmetry, and this one has. So clearly B, CSM in this case. We have the following pair. So this one, as we can see, it's overlapped. So, but this one from the back is way overlapped and deformed. This one also. But I'm just gonna rotate and take a look at this from this side. We see over here some interesting details. This one will not have so well-defined elements. So over here mostly we have this just as a texture, but over here we have some added geometry. So this will be B, even though they both are bad and I've seen better outputs with the same image. So B in this case. Let's see the following one. Within my previous video, I also had a similar one. So with this hat, let's take a look at this. In this case, we have some added geometry over here. This doesn't have that. But overall, the proportions, if I'm going to take a look like this, I will go with B. Let's take a look at the underbelly of this. So this is quite dark. But over here, I'm still going to go with this one, even though the curvature over here is much higher than the one within the original reference, but still closer than this one, so B in this case. So trellis. Let's take a look at another one. I'm really curious if afterwards on the leaderboard CSM will still be first. So we have the same image over here. Again, we have those defined. Only one is within the reference, as we can see over here. This is just a mess. As we can see, it barely resembles the horse, but over here we see the horse profile quite well defined. So A, again trellis. So this should be in some cases a simple model, and as we can see, they look like this. This is quite low poly, and this is quite heavy, considering that this is a simple ceramic element like this. I will go with A in this case. So CSM, quite a heavy mesh. I wasn't expecting CSM to generate a large mesh like that. We have the following pyramid. So again, this is a total mess over here. This one is decent, but I'm sure that other tools will do better. I will choose this one, but I'm sure that this is not Redis or CSM. As we can see, those are not those tools. Those are the most refined currently. So we have the same image with the hat. This is quite dark, so it's a little bit harder to see. We don't have the possibility to add lights over here, so just geometry and wireframe. But considering this, even though it's so dark, if I'm gonna rotate, we're gonna see the mesh will look like this. Over here, this will be filled, so clearly this one is the winner. Again, trellis against instant mesh. I'm really curious on the leaderboard. I still want to do 10 more, and afterwards I'm curious if CSM still managed to maintain first position. We see the vertex count over here. This is also regarding a texture, but let's analyze the overall shape. And the overall shape, this will look like this from the top. This will not be aligned, so clearly A is better. So strawberry in this case. We have the following hand, and so this is an AI hand. As we can see, the total number of fingers is mid-journey 2022 over here. But yeah, this, I don't know exactly why they added this tool, because this is just getting started. Even with the mesh struggles, it doesn't even have texture. So clearly B, CSM in this case. So we have a Christmas tree. This is a total mess over here. This one, not that a total mess, but still quite bad. I'm sure that both of these are not either CSM or Trellis, the top competitors. Even though we see that this was Trellis, so I was expecting Trellis to generate a higher detail mesh. We have this one with the bug, and on the start of this video I also had this, and I voted for this one. Even though the texture is bad, I voted regarding the topology of the mesh, the total number of so we see the lag count for this. It's good on both. I still gonna go with this because over here we see the mesh is not fully linked. This one is fully linked, so B in this case. This was Tripo. I'm not sure why Tripo outputs those meshes, because it's a lot better. And we see over here, this hat is not what it should have been. This one as well. So these are two weak tools that haven't been trained enough, as we can see. I'm gonna go with B, even though both are not. Okay, so let's see this model. We see this one, it has a small amount of triangles compared to this one, but the output is clearly for this. So we see the circularity of this, and we see how that will be concentric to the other section. This one, a total mess, so A. Again, we have the same model, so let's take a look. This will be clearly A. So this will be CSM again. Let's take a look at the following table. Regarding a texture from the top, A is a clear winner, even though we have the following geometry over here. So quite a lot of vertex. We see the bottom section, so clearly A. This is totally messed up and not doesn't have any symmetry. It also have that inner border, so this is better. It's still not that good, but considering that it had that as an input A, so CSM. I'm gonna do 3 more, so let's take a look at the following bear. Okay, we have a clear winner. I'm not gonna go into details. We have a lot of vertex over here, but they are just poorly merged, so A. Let's see the following one. So we have this one. Okay, over here we have a lot of floating meshes, so clearly this is not a good output, and this is quite decent. So considering that the vertex count is so low, this is quite well defined. It doesn't have that hollow section, but I'm sure that in time that will be added. And let's see the last one. It will load now. Again, we have the same hat, and clearly this is a total mess to the left, and this is quite decent. Let me check on the bottom. So we have that that hollow in the middle, so that's good. Over here, this is just filled, so a total mess. B clearly. So trellis. So let's take a look at the leaderboard in this case, and as we can see, we still have CSM first. So even though I did multiple voting over here, this didn't updated. So maybe on Hugging Faces, it will require a little bit of time to have this updated. But I'm really curious what will be the ranking over here. So let me know in the comment section if you also give this a try. I consider that this 3D Arena is amazing, and we're gonna see exactly which is the best generative AI tool. I really hope that they will add Viscom over here. So Viscom is mostly used for industrial design sketching and so on, but considering that I've started to test various generative AI tools for more than a year now, I usually went with CSM and also in some cases with Trellis, but once I've started with Tripo and now with Viscom, I've seen a lot of improvements over there. So if you're gonna check my latest video regarding the new page, you're gonna see how well Viscom defined that model compared to CSM, which actually was the weakest over there. So okay, I hope you enjoyed this kind of content. I will position a similar video on the left side, and I will also add a subscribe button to the right. So that's it. Thanks for watching.